Well, hello there, Nerd BS listeners. We are on we're on
Very
episode
nice.
39 of our cast, and we're on July 13th now of the
Oh,
famous year
it is.
2020 U 2020 U. You heard me. 2020. Who's looking at 2020 U?
Yeah.
Uh, it's just me
Nice.
and Kyle here today, but we're just gonna talk about all sorts of random things that we got going on in our heads. How you doing there, Kyle?
I'm doing well. Thanks. Yeah. We just kind of put together stuff that, like Alan said, just been bounced around in our heads. Not a whole lot of big news things today. And man, it is July 13th already. I only got a few weeks
Yeah,
left.
this summer is moving by quick. I mean, it usually moves by quick for me just because of how busy it is, but yeah, it's going by. It's burning by really because it's been extremely hot here, and at least where I'm at. So for me, I'd say I just looked it up the weather because I was looking up for tomorrow, and it's like 86. That doesn't seem like a lot for a lot of people. I know, but it was 40% humidity, seems pretty high,
Oh,
which is
that's what
probably
got you.
why. Yeah,
Yeah.
I realized that. I was like, that was probably why it felt like I was living on the surface of the sun.
Yep.
Uh, but
Same down here. I thought it felt like 108. My car said 108, and I looked at my phone. It's like, dude, it's 91. Relax. And I was like, I don't know, guys.
it's
I think I'm
91,
melting.
relax. You need to calm down, sir.
That's what
This is
my
not
phone
near.
said.
This is gonna be the coolest summer of the rest of your life. So, because it's just gonna get
Yeah,
hotter.
enjoy it.
Enjoy it while you can. So that's fun. But anyways, if you want to check out any of our in our socials, feel free to do so. We have a Twitter at nerd_bs, email nerdbackstory@gmail.com. And I think we're gonna try to do some other social stuff, but you'll have to hear it whenever we come up with it. But my Twitter that you can yell at me about is at ScadMatrix, and contact any of those places, and you will find yourself on our Discord if you would like to, where we talk about all this fun stuff on the reg. Is what we do there. So I think Kyle
That's what
does
we say
some cool.
too. We,
Yeah, no, that's what we say. Kyle has his own little social there. So what do you got there, Kyle?
yeah, I'm on Instagram at Skyboss Video Games. Just type in Skyboss and you'll find me.
Fun. All right, so let's see. We got a couple. We got a couple things here. I think we want to talk a little bit about Prime Day. We got Prime Day coming up. The capitalism holiday, where
Yes.
we can spend all our money that we may or may not have at the time to buy all
Hmm.
sorts of random things that we may or may not need. Uh,
No, none of what I bought was needed.
so, so what have you been grabbing on Prime Day? Have you been snatching everything up?
I've
Anything up?
been, yeah, I honestly, I don't often get a lot of Prime Day stuff, but I had a little extra moolah this year. And so I bought a few games. So just a couple of them. I bought Zengen for the Switch. I don't know if you've heard of Zengen.
I have
Uh,
not.
yeah, it
What
looked
is a
cool.
Zengen?
I don't know. We'll find out.
We'll
It's going
find
to be
out.
here by Sunday. Um, $17 for that.
Okay.
Monster Harvest on Switch, which is like looks like a Harvest Moon Pokemon clone. $12 for that. They got
Monster
terrible ratings, so
Harvest? You got terrible
hmm
ratings, so that's
they
good.
got
So you're
terrible
excited for
ratings,
that
but
one.
$12. I got Ever Forward on PS5, but you can also get it on PS4, and that one looks like a puzzle game, like a artistic puzzle game. So that one, I love those ones. So that one looks pretty cool. That was about $20.
Uh-huh.
I also got some games on GameFly because you know, they're like, why not also have a sale? And I really like GameFly because you get all the stuff, like the game's used, but you get all the original artwork and everything. And as some of those retweeters like to say, everything but the shrink wrap. So I picked up Dynasty Warriors. We were just talking about that on Switch because for whatever reason, it's hard to find Dynasty Warriors games on Switch. It's very strange.
Uh,
But
well,
every other
I
console
guess they
is
have their
like,
Nintendo ones, and also, I mean, I'm sure they require a lot of processing power with all the mobs on the
Maybe.
screen.
Yeah, but I mean, older consoles can run it. Just give me a port of the older ones. I'm talking like all Dynasty Warriors games on Switch are just hard to find.
It's hard
Dynasty,
to find
not
in
like
general.
not Muso games. Like,
Yeah, because you have the
but
Nintendo licensed or whatever you want to call it, Musou games like
yeah,
Fire Emblem and
yeah,
uh, and Hyrule Warriors.
yeah. Those are easy to come by. But anyways, that one was on sale. I also picked up Sifu Vengeance Edition on PS5, that one's been talked about a little bit. Which is we'll see. I hear it's very difficult. And basically, the idea of it is whenever you die, you get older, and you come back and you age a little bit until the point where you can't really fight anymore. So you have to learn how to fight in that game, and it's very technical. It's very technical, like you're moving all the limbs very intricately. So I'll have to let you know
Hmm.
how that goes when that comes in.
Yeah, you will for sure.
I just heard a lot about it, so I've been meaning to pick it up, and it finally went on sale. I
Ah.
also got the one I've been looking for and waiting for to go on sale, which it went on sale pretty quick. Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin.
Mm-hmm.
I got it on PS4 because you could get the PS5 upgrade, but it was $20, and it's relatively new. I don't know if you've heard of the Stranger of Paradise
No, I
Final
think I
Fantasy.
feel like I might have. That might be the Dark Souls esque one, right? Maybe. I'm
Um,
guessing.
Probably. I haven't heard it called that, but I think so. It got it didn't get great reviews. It looks
That's probably why I
fantastic
haven't heard
though.
of it. That's why I haven't heard of it since it like was about to come out. I probably
Yeah,
just kind of
it
fell off
came
the
out.
radar.
It came out in March,
Oh
like
wow.
middle March, so it's relatively new. I figured it was going to go on sale Black Friday, but it dropped in price pretty quick. So I picked it up for $20, and we'll see. You never know.
That
It
sounds
got
like
a
it's good.
five,
Yeah.
it got 5.7 on GameFly from GameFly.
3.7?
No, 5.7.
Oh, 5 points. That's out of
So
10, right?
yeah, it's still very very
Yeah, that's
mediocre, but
that's like right on the cusp of bad. That's like
yeah,
mediocre is like 5, I'd imagine. I was like,
yeah,
okay, that's like it's playable. It's still like it's okay. Anything below that, it starts getting to
we'll see.
the bad territory.
But here's the thing with the PS5 upgrade, the load times are beautiful, and so I'm willing to try anything with those load times. I will be honest. I I don't know if I can play PS4 again with the load
Yeah,
times.
I've
I
walked
don't
into
know.
my son's room while he's playing PS4, and just hearing the jet engine is a bit much for me.
Oh, I forgot about
Uh,
that too.
so I always do as well. I always forget about it, and then I walk in on him playing a game, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's loud." Uh,
Last couple things I uh I picked up on Prime Day. So I got the Ultimate Matrix collection,
oh,
which includes the Animatrix.
did it include the newest movie?
I don't think so. And I
Oh,
don't
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but at the same time, I
I
hear
mean, I've
that
heard
thing
it's
is
not
awful.
great, but if you're gonna get an ultimate collection, I would still want it to be in the
I
ultimate
think this was
collection.
I think this one came out like several
Oh, I'm
years ago
sure.
though.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I figured it did.
So yeah, I was kind of hoping, but I think it was $16. I was like, yeah, I'm getting it.
Yeah, makes
But
sense.
then here's the one I'm most excited for.
Mhm.
The Batman complete animated series on Blu-ray.
Oh, I saw
I
that
got a
at
lightning
Target. How
deal.
much did you get it for?
25 bucks.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
I almost picked it up at Target for like $40, so that's a pretty good deal. I mean, it was like
Hmm.
45, I think, and it was still on sale. It was also on sale, so,
Yeah.
I thought about it though. It looked it's a good show, so but now that it is actually on, like it's actually accessible online, I was just like, "Eh, whatever." But for 20
Yeah.
bucks, that's a good deal. That's a really good deal.
Yeah. I've been picking up stuff like that. So I got like the Dark Knight trilogy on Blu-ray. I don't know.
Okay.
I want some things on physical media where I don't have to go. Okay, where's it streaming? Okay, do I have to rent it on Amazon? I just want a few things and you and I were discussing this on Discord about
Yeah.
the despecialized Star Wars Blu-rays, which
Yeah, of course.
they those DVDs sold. We could talk about that later, but
Uh-huh.
it's a weird thing happened with those DVDs we're looking at. But anyways,
Oh,
um,
really? That's interesting.
yeah,
I didn't know anything happened.
yes, somebody else bought it, but um, anyways, yeah, just if like I have that, and then I bought the Harry Potter movies on Blu-ray, but I haven't opened it. I don't know. I might give that away. But stuff like that. Oh, you know what the my favorite one is? I have the Ultimate Shrek collection, which has like
Oh,
eight or nine movies, including the
that's cool.
musical.
Yeah,
That one,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
that I do love the Shrek movies, but it has
No,
a
I
lot of
do, yeah.
fluff in with it
I've
too.
I've only watched I think I've only watched the first couple, but still, they are enjoyable.
You haven't seen Shrek the Fourth?
No, I think I watched the
Rumpelstiltskin?
first I remember watching the first Shrek a lot, and then the
Oh,
second Shrek, I watched it quite a bit, but I don't even remember what the third one was at this moment, so,
they all blend together for me, to be honest.
uh,
I just remember
makes
the
sense.
fourth one had Rumpelstiltskin because I thought he was hilarious. So, anyways, yeah, Prime Day, it's today. So probably by the time you're hearing this, the deals will be gone,
Oh,
and
you're
I will
right, it
be
is. Oh, wow, it does, like, end today. I was just looking at
it
the
ends
top, I was like, "Holy
today.
crap."
So
I did not get anything on Prime Day, and I don't know if I will, to be honest, now that I know it ends today. I was like, "Maybe I'll look at it the next couple days." I thought Prime Day was, like, a
it's
week long, but I guess
it used to be. It's just 2 days now. So it
that's good.
started
That's probably for the
yesterday.
best. I've heard
It
bad things
is
about, like, what it does to the, warehouse, so it's probably best it's only a day.
exactly, yeah. Um, yeah, and we were talking about it earlier, like feeding the machine, but
Yeah, 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 of course.
yeah, I get my deals. We'll
Well,
see
that's
how much
good.
longer. I ended up selling 500 plus video games just this summer, so
Hey, there you go. Gotta
I'm
restock,
adding
right?
back. Yeah, I'm adding back to it, but I don't. Anyways, I gotta decrease. I'm getting rid of the older games, and I'm
Uh-huh.
collecting like Switch, a lot of Switch. I think those are going to be hot tickets later on.
Yeah, most likely because they are on those, very unique, cartridges, so I think that'll help
Yeah,
the resale
they're
value
very
on
cool.
them.
So yeah, I think
Um,
that's. I don't think PS4 is going to be much resell. Xbox has
no.
never had much value.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore because the
I
way
don't
the
know anymore
retro
either.
gaming is. Yeah.
But looking at PS3, which is 2 generations old now, it's not getting that high as value. Some of those games,
Yeah.
and like I thought it would, and who knows, it might shoot up in another 10 years. But if that's the trend, then PS4 for sure it had sold way more than PS3, and it's those games are easy to come by. So plus,
For
it's not
sure.
the whole digital thing nowadays. Who knows? I just don't think a whole lot of PS4 games are going to be rare.
Nah, most likely not. And now systems are starting to learn to carry over, it seems like. I mean, Xbox is doing it a little longer, but even now PlayStation is getting back to it with
Hmm.
the ecosystem just kind of just carrying over to the next one with the PS4 and the PS5. So,
Yeah, that's been nice. Just
and
popping
that
in PS4 games into my PS5.
yeah, so I think that I honestly think that's just going to continue. It's just going to keep going that way.
You're right.
Uh,
You're probably right.
and that's fine. I mean, if it does, if we don't lose digital or physical media entirely, which I don't think we will, because I think there's still enough of a there's enough of a desire to have physical media. It's something that I think a lot of us are losing in general, and so I feel like there's people that really like to hold on to that physical object.
Yeah, it might become more
Um,
rare though, and maybe even more.
it's
Well,
possible.
the prices are already going up
Yeah, personally for
for.
me, as you said earlier, I don't really care about physical media anymore, and I actually kind of wish most of my stuff is digital because I'm just lazy and I'd rather just
It's
click over
so
and do it.
easy.
It
It's so
is. It
much
really is.
easier. I mean,
It is. It is
that's how I
very
play
annoying
the.
though. Like you said, it's very annoying to want to watch something and then not know where to find it because I've been in that
Yeah,
position before, and it's usually stuff that's a little more rare.
yeah, a little
Uh,
older.
yeah, a little older that I just haven't seen in a long time, and hard to
Yeah,
find it.
it happened to me recently. So, you know, I got the COVID over summer. It's been a few weeks now. Um, and my family packed up and moved out for the week, which was smart because nobody else got sick, thank God. They stayed at grandma and grandpa's for or like 5 days. Like that 5 day quarantine period, basically. And my wife didn't get sick, so it worked out. But while I was home, I got into Jack Reacher. Have you heard of this series?
Series. I thought it was like, is it just one movie or is it two
No,
movies?
there's two
Tom
movies,
Cruise,
and now there's
right?
a show. There's a whole show. Not Tom Cruise though.
Oh,
Tom Cruise is not in the
this is not
show.
Tom Cruise. Oh, but he's not in the show. But he is Jack Reacher, right?
He did the movies. He did the two movies, and
Okay.
so I watched the
I,
movie.
yeah, I'm kind of
And
curious about that because I just thought it was like a
it's
John Wick like rip off.
uh, no, I don't know. Was
No,
John Wick military?
no. As
Ex-mil? No. So
far as
this
I
guy's
know, I don't know.
ex-military. So they're probably similar. It's kind of like the '80s. The main guy can do literally everything,
Yeah, it's like just a hardcore
like a Sherlock Holmes
man.
that works out
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
So yeah, and I was totally down for that. Like this is, when I was quarantined. So I watched the show. It's all the first movie's on Amazon, and then the second movie is not on Amazon. And I'm looking around for it. So finally, I just pay the $4 to rent it, and it's not great. The second movie's not great. I was a little disappointed, but
Yeah.
then I found out if I had just gotten Paramount Plus or a free trial, it's on there. And I was like, see, so like, yeah, just an example of what you're saying. Like, oh, that's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Trying to
Yeah.
find out where it is and do I have to pay for a month? Can I get a free trial? Is it worth it to get Paramount Plus? Because then I could have watched Sonic, but all said and done, um, I hope physical media stays around a little bit longer. Movies are getting cheap.
Yeah.
Games are getting more expensive. Movies are getting cheaper, which is nice.
I think because of how easy it is to stream them, really, it's
Mm,
most people aren't willing to go
the
purchase a
supply.
$20 movie when I can just watch it on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah,
Like recently I did fork over some money because I had the same issue that I had watched Multiverse of Madness, and so I was trying to explain to my son like where Sam Raimi kind of came from, and I was trying to explain like other Evil Dead movies and things like that. And
yeah.
so we
And
actually sat down
Spider-Man.
and watched them. Well, we watched the Spider-Mans already, but I was more talking about the
Oh,
Evil
okay.
Dead.
I got you. I got you. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. It was
but
Doctor
they're available.
Strange. Definitely
Yeah,
has
yeah,
some Evil Dead in there.
yes, for sure. But they're not available anywhere to watch online. So the only
Really?
place to watch them was Vudu.
I
I had to
swear,
purchase. You could rent them.
Voodoo. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah, yeah. You
you
can
could
rent.
rent them, but they're like there's not streaming anywhere.
I swear,
Um,
I just watched one. It might have been during Halloween though,
yeah, it's
which was a
possible.
while
I
ago.
I ended up just buying them off of Vudu, so,
Nice. So
that's
you
what I
have
did.
them
Yeah, because
technically.
the first 2 were on sale for some reason, and then I just bought Army of Darkness full retail for,
Army
like,
of Darkness
15
is
bucks.
fantastic. It's so campy. It's
Yes,
great.
it's very good. It's definitely the wackiest of the 3. But we watched them all, but that was a kind of an
You
interesting,
watched all of
trek.
them?
All 3 of them, yeah. Over a period of
Wow.
a couple days, yeah, it was
Aren't
just
aren't the first two like? Isn't the second one like a remake almost? Like a reboot?
so kind of,
It's
but
somehow
not
it's so
really.
yeah, it's so weird, right?
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. Okay.
When the guy who plays Ash, I can't remember his name right this
Bruce.
second. Bruce Campbell. When Bruce Campbell was asked about it, he specifically said it is a sequel. And
Okay.
so I was like, okay, it's a sequel. But then when I watched them back to back, it's like the second one, they don't even mention the first movie, like anything that happened in the first movie. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you going out to the cabin again
Again,
with
yeah.
like your new girlfriend? Obviously, she has no idea what's happening. And then like the same stuff happens, like the exact same things happen. So it seems really weird. And the way he acts too is like
Yeah,
nothing. He doesn't remember anything that happened in the first movie. So
because
I don't know.
it's not a reboot, and it is kind of if it's a sequel, it's a weird sequel.
Yeah, it's a very strange sequel, but
But
it's yeah.
yeah, I think I remember reading something that they kind of just wanted to do things differently that they weren't able to or something. And so instead of making a reboot, they just call it a sequel.
Yeah. Well, I think at the time they didn't do very many. That wasn't like a
Yeah,
common
reboot
thing to reboot.
wasn't a thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
which
So
is
this
cool,
was.
right? Like they kind of kicked that off, and then Army of Darkness was definitely a sequel,
Oh yeah, straight up
and did its
sequel.
own thing. It's just time travel, wacky tobacco stuff, which is so fun. That's
Super
cool.
fun.
So,
Yeah. So
so did you
we
get
did
to
watch
see
it.
the influences in Doctor Strange? Then?
Yeah. Well, I already knew it was there, but yes, my son got to
Yeah,
see it, but he was a little dumbfounded because it's definitely an older movie and it's definitely a bizarre older movie.
yeah, it's a little creepy. That first one's
So
creepy.
yeah. Well, he's a Five Nights kid, so he's all into the horror stuff and things like that. So he's not
Uh,
really doesn't get scared
Five
very
Nights
easily.
Kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. It's
And
this
yeah,
kind
I
of
guess
this
the
generation.
graphics aren't as good as they are now.
That
So
too, because I watched Dawn of the Dead with him, and he kinda giggled whenever they showed the blood, it was an accidental thing. It looks kind of orange. It wasn't, like, mixed properly or something in the movie, so if you ever see, the
Dawn of the Dead.
original Dawn of the Dead,
Uh huh.
the blood is kind of thick, and, in some lighting, it's kinda orange looking. It's very bizarre,
Interesting.
but that's also an indie film too. Um, but anyways, we wanted to talk about what we were playing this week. So
I did try to transition, and then I totally went
we
off.
went we went off on Evil Dead there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I did pick up the new Fire Emblem game, new Fire Emblem Warriors, Three Hopes,
Oh.
and I was trying to. I played it a bit. I probably put about 5 to 10 hours into it, but I was getting a little annoyed with
Mm,
the repetitiveness of the Muso style. I mean, I used to love the Muso style, and I would still say I do. I think
yeah.
my issue was just when I wanna do the maps, I wanna, like, finish them, but usually the goals don't want you to finish them.
Uh
Usually
huh.
it's like to do, like, certain stuff, and I was like, I wanna
I know
finish the map.
exactly
I
what you
wanna
mean.
take all this red off the map. I don't
But
wanna
conquer it. Yeah.
yeah, I wanna conquer it. I don't care about your little mission that you're trying to do. Uh And
I know
that seemed to
exactly what
cause
you mean.
problems
Yeah.
for me, yeah,
And then sometimes
um,
you'll lose stuff because somebody dies that you weren't paying attention to,
yeah,
and the
um,
mission's over. I've
yeah.
had that happen. Yeah.
It's a little bit better in this one because, they do a really good job of being able to switch characters. So instead of
Oh yeah,
being
yeah,
stuck with
yeah.
a single hero, you get to switch between a handful of heroes that are all working on the map, and it actually is really cool for the simple fact that, like, you can send your allies to other bases and things like that. You can basically control the
Yeah, that's
battlefield in
nice.
that way. So there's a lot of good quality of life features that have added to it. And it's not a bad game, not by all means. I got a little annoyed, but I am planning on going back to it because it was a good time and it has the commutative stuff from Fire. Well, very similar from Fire Emblem, Three Houses, where you actually gain uh, letter levels in each character, and you
Mm,
can gain
that's
like
cool.
relationships with them and things like that. You can't marry
Oh,
anybody like you can
oh,
in Three Houses, but you do grow relationships and things.
I'm not a big fan of the
Yeah,
waifu stuff,
I
but
like it. Yeah, I don't really like the waifu stuff, but I do like the getting to know each character. I will say this one feels much more wordy than than
really,
Fire Emblem, which is weird because I thought this one would actually be less because of the
yeah,
fact it's a Warriors game. But
they do
every bit of
they do try the
dialogue
story.
is extremely long, which
They do
is
try to add the story in,
interesting.
but yeah, they try, and like you said, I never really play Dynasty Warriors for the story. I've learned the story of the
Well,
Muso games I play.
most of the Dynasty Warriors games are kinda like rehashes, right? They kept rehashing the same
Pretty
story or a
much,
very
yeah, it
similar
pretty much
story.
is.
When I used to
Yeah, and they
watch
just add stuff or whatever.
yeah, I haven't played since, like, maybe 4 or so, I don't remember. It was one of the ones on, like, PS2 or PS3. I remember playing them with you, actually, or my
Yeah,
brother.
Those are
and I
still
haven't
my
really played
favorite.
them. I every once in a while I see them on like PS5 or something or PS4. I don't know if there's one on PS5, but I know there was one on PS4, and I saw it and I actually really wanted to get it, but I wasn't sure if there was online because I thought about like trying to get it and convincing someone to get it with me so we can actually play it online together. Um,
Some of them have it. The
so
newest ones have it, but yeah,
I would hope so, and I would imagine it would look a lot better and run a lot better in like a PS5. Like
it
Fire
does.
Emblem, it runs well. It runs really well. There's nothing wrong with it, but I haven't played multiplayer, and I'm afraid to. And there's only console cross con or only like couch co-op.
Oh,
There's no like online multiplayer,
no
which is a
online.
little,
That's
you know,
yeah, that's annoying. I didn't know
it's
that.
annoying. But then at the same time, when I think about it, I was like, who the heck I'm gonna get to play with me? Fire Emblem, because I don't really know anybody like is like a big Fire Emblem guy. I know you have
Well,
a couple Fire Emblem games.
I'm gonna
Um,
get it.
Well, if you get it, that's amazing, but we can't play online together,
I
so
know. It's so
unfortunately,
I'm in no rush. I will wait for a sale.
which sucks because if it was, I could have tried to talk to somebody because I could have talked to some people and see if anybody would be interested, or even you, see if you'd be
Yeah,
interested in doing it just
I
because.
love
But
all the Muso games, man.
yeah,
So Fire Emblem, and the Hyrule games.
yeah,
Those are
the
good.
Hyrule games are
Like
good.
those characters are so
Did
fun.
the
So
Hyrule have online either?
I don't remember.
I
I
don't think it
so for
did.
me, Muso games for me are good. I find them as good travel games, like especially on the Switch.
Uh huh.
Um, you can just because you could do a battle in anywhere from like 10 to 20 minutes. You could like you do like conquer
Yeah,
everything and take your
they're
time.
relatively short. Like
They're
you can
relatively
get one
short.
through
So,
there.
like,
Yeah.
I remember, if I'm waiting at the doctor's office, I would play it or whatever, or, actually traveling on a plane. Perfect for that. Because then, it does get old. You turn it off, you take a break, but you're not like, you can jump right back into it to the next battle. So,
Yeah.
I always found them as good travel games. I never try to play online um, with the newer ones. I haven't, but I'd be curious to see if the newest the Calamity one, the Age of Calamity has it. I'm not sure.
I
We'll
don't
have to look
think
into it.
so. Skylar has it, so I'm not sure if it does though. But I'll have to, maybe I'll have to take a look at it. I never played it because it was supposed to be like a it's supposed to be like a soft sequel to Breath of the Wild, right? So I felt
The
like
story
I
is, yeah,
yeah, so I felt like I needed to beat Breath of the Wild, and
or
I'd never
the
beat Breath of the Wild, so
prequel, I think, actually.
I was in a prequel.
I think it's a prequel.
'Cause
But
I
yeah.
played a lot of the original Hyrule Warriors, the one that was on Wii U. I played a lot on Wii U.
Mhm.
But I didn't play the sequel. And I didn't play the first Fire Emblem Warriors either, because it came out and I was
Yeah,
like, I mean, it was a cool isolated story that was just like it seemed like it was very much like Hyrule Warriors, the
right.
first one where it was just kind of like a combination of all of like a lot of older Fire Emblem games, which is cool, but I just never grabbed it. And then this one though was like supposed to be a retelling and of the first game with a hidden twist, which it completely changes the entire
With Three
story.
Houses?
Yeah, so this is like the same
Yeah.
story, the same it's supposed to be like a same story, but there's like a twist of this new character that pops up through some sort of dimensional thing or something, and then it kind of turns the protagonist in the first game and to the antagonist in the sequel. At least that's as far as I've gotten, and also that's like it's right at the beginning, and that was in all the trailers. So that wasn't really a spoiler, but
Yeah.
so don't you
No,
didn't
you're
know
good.
it. Yeah, I didn't want to spoil anything, but that's kind of like the premise of it. So it's
Like you said,
interesting.
I don't think a whole lot of people are gonna be worried about this one, which is weird because Fire Emblem is one of Nintendo's
It's a big
longest
boy now.
running.
Yeah,
Well, but
it
it
and I don't.
is, but it isn't, right? Like
Well,
it's right on the cusp of
it's
becoming
yeah, it's probably a bit more niche than like your Mario's, but
right.
it's still bigger than your
Is it bigger
Metroid.
than is it bigger than Kirby? You think it's bigger than Metroid?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's
It
bigger
has
than Metroid.
more it has more entries.
Yeah, it's bigger than Metroid.
I think
I would never.
it must have been recently then that
Okay,
it
so
pushed past
it
Metroid.
was 7. 7 is the one that did it, Awakening. So the one that was on
Oh, on
3DS,
3DS.
apparently from what I've been told or what I've looked up, that was the last chance. Basically, they
Oh,
were going to
really?
shelve Fire Emblem for
Huh.
a questionable amount of time, and that one came out, and it just blew the socks off of people to the
That's
point
why
where
all the older ones went up in price.
yes. And so then it gained, like, a huge following, and then it just kept growing from there,
Yeah, because it
to where
really
it's at
shut
now.
off. The 3DS
Mhm.
has several entries,
Yes.
and I'm surprised
Um,
Switch doesn't have a full another sequel. Like, they've been doing the
there's
Warriors
so
ones here.
there's lots of rumors and stuff right now Fire Emblem the next Fire Emblem entry is already finished. And
Ooh,
it's basically ready to go, but they're trying to figure out when to release it.
when's a good time?
Yeah, because now they just had this new one that came out, the Warriors one, and so they
Right,
don't wanna
right.
cannibalize the sales of a they don't want true Fire Emblem fans to be like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna skip the Warriors game and go play
Yeah.
the actual Fire Emblem game." They're
Yeah,
trying to give
plus if you
themselves
do
some
it
room.
you gotta do it closer to, the holidays, you'll probably get more sales,
Yeah.
so
There's
sounds like they
rumors
know
it's
what
gonna be
they're doing.
coming out the beginning of next year is what we're hearing, but
Oh, okay.
we'll see. That's just all
As well,
rumors.
as long as, Breath of the Wild 2 comes out soon, I'll be happy because that needs to come out.
Alright, well, I hope you all enjoy Breath of the Wild 2. I have no interest in it, but that's okay. You guys
Whatever, you're gonna get it, and you're gonna love it.
I'm not gonna get it. I still never beat Breath of the Wild 1. I'll have no idea what to do in
You
the
haven't
second
beat
one.
it? You didn't like it?
No.
I thought you beat that one.
I
I
tried.
th
I even went back to it, like, 4 or 5 months ago. It's right after I beat Odyssey. It might have been a little longer than that. But
mm.
after I beat Odyssey, I was like, "All right, this is it." Well, not beat Odyssey. I had beat Odyssey previously, but I went back and 100% at it. Like, I was
Oh,
like, "All
yeah.
right, I'm gonna get everything now."
All the
So I
moons.
did that, and then, I was like, "Okay, now I'm gonna go to Breath of the Wild," and I think I lasted about 4 or 5 hours, and I was like, "Nah, I'm done."
Not for
I
you.
just never went back. There's something about it. It just doesn't hit me. I don't understand it.
I
Doesn't
I
hit me.
remember now. Yeah.
Yeah.
You like the other Zeldas, but you don't like that one.
Yeah, that one, I'm just not feeling it. I don't know why.
Gotcha.
I may try again. We'll see.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Don't force it, dude. Don't force
I
it.
want to love it. I want to be one of the Zelda peoples.
Yeah, hey,
I love Zelda games.
number 2 could be a return to form for you. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean that's a possibility. I might. Well, my son is grabbing it for sure. So
You're gonna have a copy of it in the
yeah, there'll be a
house.
copy around, so I could potentially try it without worrying
That's
about
not coming out till
spending too much
next year
money.
anyway, so
Yeah. But anyway, so I've been playing obviously on my Nintendo. What have you been playing over there, buddy?
I finally started God of War. I don't know, what is that, 2018 it came out?
Oh, I thought you played it because I actually haven't gone through
No.
that game either.
No, it was part of the Plus. They gave it away on the
Did
PlayStation
they
Plus,
ever
so
did they ever make like an update for the PS5 or is it just
yes.
better load times? Yes, there's an
Yes,
update
yes.
now?
That's the one I got. Yeah, 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 yeah. So
Okay, cool.
it's
Maybe I'll have to
optimized. There's
maybe
like a
I'll
little
have to
option like,
try
do
it
you want
again.
performance or do you want
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
whatever? And I was like, oh, performance all the way. I don't care what it looks like. I just want to get through
I'm
this.
always a performance person as well. I don't know there's something about it. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it looks nice, but not nice enough
yeah, yeah.
to mess up my 60 frames and whatever
Right.
else.
Yeah. Just give me. Yeah. I don't want any slowdown. I want quick load times. Let's get through this. So,
Yeah.
I basically got through the tutorial. Um,
All right. Maybe I'll have to grab this one and start playing with you and just start bugging you with it
that'd be yeah. Actually, that would be
because I
cool.
haven't played it either. And
Yeah, and it's on. Like you probably have it in
yeah,
your
I do. I have
catalog.
access. Not only did we have it in the Plus thing, but also they gave it away for for owning a PS5. Then they gave it for the Plus for like a month ago.
Yeah, yeah.
They're trying to give me a nudge, nudge, wink, wink. It's like, hey,
Well, that
play this
sequel's coming
game.
out. They say
Yeah,
that one's coming out this year, so that's
I
part of the
know.
reason why I wanted to get into it.
Well,
And
maybe we'll have to download it and we'll have to do a discussion on it.
I have you played any of the other God of Wars?
No.
previous to
What?
this
Well,
one?
yes and no. So yes, I've played them. No, I've never beat one, and I have never got very far.
Okay, I think I beat maybe the first one, and then I've played
Yeah,
all the rest of them,
I
but
re-
this one's obviously very, very different. A
yeah. So I know
completely
it's like
overhaul.
a whole new. It's like a reboot, right? Basically, like you don't really
Uh,
have to have played the
well,
previous ones.
you don't have to, no, but it's definitely a continued story. But
Oh,
it does
now I
tell you
gotta beat
what's
all those other
happening.
games before I can play this one.
Yeah, you got to go back.
Dang it!
Well,
That
reboot
was
as far
good.
as combat goes, like it's not the same combat. It's very cleaned up, and it's third person over the shoulder view. Before it was
Yeah.
isometric. You're just running amok. Cause, but he's older now, and he has his kid, and so I'm sitting there, I'm taking notes. Never use his real name. Just call him boy. That's a must as a father.
No, you don't treat him like
Uh,
a person.
Yeah. Train him up to kill, and never show any emotion, and everything's gonna be okay. So I'm just
Oh
taking dad
boy.
notes, really.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe I'll have to give it a shot. I haven't played the other ones. I remember
I
playing
like it.
the original one on PS2, and for some reason, it was in a weird time in my life, and I was like, or somebody told me that, oh, the hardest difficulty is not that bad, or something.
Oh
And
my
so I was like,
gosh.
all right, I'm going in the hardest difficulty. Here we go. And so I did it, and I banged my head on the wall like for a couple hours before I said, I don't want to play this game anymore. And I just never went back
I,
to it.
I don't know if it's the first one. It might be one of the sequels, but there eventually, after you die so many times, it asks if you want to lower the
It
difficulty.
did that, but I was very stubborn at the
Okay.
time.
Oh, so you just said no.
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember
Well,
that. Yeah, I remember that
that's
it
your
was like,
fault on that one.
"Are you sure you don't wanna, like, lower the difficulty? Because you seem to be having a hard time with this." "You shut up, game. You don't know my life."
Yeah, I remember doing the same thing and then like regretting it. Like I should have just went down
Yeah,
in difficulty.
I honestly probably could go back at those games. I've heard they're not too long either, so you could probably get through a couple
Yeah,
of them pretty quick.
if you, yeah, dude. Okay, I've said this before. Um, I don't.
I have, like, the anthology thing that
Okay,
came
yeah,
out on
no,
PS3
uh huh.
where I have, like, all of them on PS3, so
And
except for,
dude,
like,
especially
yeah,
since you
yeah.
just beat Elden Ring, uh, I'm pretty sure this game is going to be, as long as you don't do the hard difficulty. If you
No,
just do
I'm over that
medium,
now in my old age. I don't do hard
yeah.
difficulties anymore.
But I play some games on easy now. As long
Yep.
as it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
like as long as it's not story mode, like I'm not just doing story mode. I can't do
Mhm.
that. I need a little bit of difficulty.
Need something,
But
yeah.
yeah, but I've played some games on easy mode, and there's no shame. I don't care.
No.
I'm enjoying life.
I'm over it as well. I'm over the
Now,
difficulty shaming.
now we've talked about it before, but that blasphemous game,
Uh-huh.
there is no difficulty setting. It's just hard as rocks. And I loved it. So there are some games where I'll take the punishment, and I
Yeah.
feel like Elden
And
Ring is pretty difficult, and you beat that. So
yeah, but I beat it with somebody holding my hand, so I don't know if that really
still
counted.
though,
I,
it
like,
counts. What are
never
you
did much
talking
on my
about?
own.
It
Eh.
counts. It's
Eh.
still hard. You still died.
I did
You still
die.
died a
I died
bunch.
quite a few times.
Yeah. See, so
Uh
I mean, if you want to go torture yourself and play on your own,
No, I beat that game and I was like, I put 100 hours in this game. I
yeah, that's
enjoyed every
wow.
minute of it, so
Good,
I'm good. I stepped away after that. So this is
nice,
good.
as you should. Yeah, there will be a sequel, and it will be even better because it'll be next gen or current
Next
gen.
gen? Oh, it'll be built for the current gen
It'll
for
be
sure.
built, yeah, you won't have the PS4 version. It'll
Ah,
be even
gotcha.
better. So, because I remember when Dark Souls went from 2 to 3, it was like, whoa, whoa, like it was, yeah, it was noticeable. So,
For sure.
anyways,
Excellent. Uh, so what do you got? You had something for tabletop games you want to talk about?
yeah, we talked for a couple minutes. We don't talk a whole bunch about it. I put the realm of do-it-yourself games, and so this came up because one of my sisters bought my other sister for her birthday a homemade or homebrew, whatever you want to call it, version of the game Villainous, which we've talked about a little bit. It's a it's a quick, well, not quick. but it's a standalone game where you play as the villains from Disney movies, and you can even do Marvel now because Disney owned Marvel. Although we don't, it's just kind of weird to mix Marvel villains
I
with.
heard you can't. That's what we found out when
Oh,
we were
really?
trying to play it recently, and it says not to do that because apparently there's something with the 2 games that don't kinda link
The
very
balance
well.
is off,
Yeah, it
and
just
so
doesn't
yeah,
link well.
that's kind of what I was going to bring up. Like, as cool as it sounds to do the homemade or even Marvel villains, um, the balance has just got to be wrecked. And I feel like, for the most part, that villainous game is pretty balanced. There's always the chance, you're rolling dice and all that bull crap, so there's always that chance. There's always a luck factor. But that being said, I haven't played the new ones, but I just wanted to hear what you thought, maybe on the D&D side of things. If there's homebrew stuff, I know you guys follow quite a bit of the official stuff now, but I don't know. What do you think about that kind of stuff?
Just depends on the person. Yeah, they're not balanced. They're never balanced. But the thing with D&D though is that nothing's really balanced. So I've kind of got you kind of give up on that. But they do play test their classes and things, so they try to make sure the material is never too overpowered because there's definitely some homebrew stuff that's been created that has been completely broken.
Mm,
So it is always a possibility. I personally don't use homebrew stuff in most of my games, mainly because I think you we talked about a little bit earlier where we discussed that just having that comfort of playtesting where you know that there was somebody who actually went through and playtested the
right.
game to make sure everything worked properly. And I know in D&D they always playtest um, all their classes and things quite a bit before they release them. At least they used to. I don't know how much going on now, but I've heard a lot of things. And they've brought out a lot of UA stuff, which is essentially their beta system, and some mix it into the game and some doesn't because of playtesting. So, or sometimes they make it into the game and they've been modified because of playtesting.
Mm,
So this is the kind of things that I do
yeah.
enjoy. A lot of playtesting and things, and it helps make the game more balanced. I'll never once say D&D is balanced. It's not, but it is. At least there's an attempt there, which does help.
Yeah. Yeah, and the homebrew stuff, the attempt may be there, but it's just not, there's not
But
like the broad testing like you get with the company that's
yeah,
making them.
you don't know the quality control of what they're
Yeah, yeah,
doing,
there you
what
go.
this individual person's doing. I mean, they could be great, but you don't know that.
So
So it's always gonna be in the back of your mind.
the thing is, I think it takes away from the ultimate, like, I think it takes away from the fun of it a little bit. Now, because it sounds fun, it sounds great, like, from this homebrew game, like, oh man, this character that I've always wanted that maybe never got put in, or this power. But at the back of your mind, there's always that, like, well, this isn't official, and that, like, even if I win, like, it almost like a sting. It's like, oh well, of course you won because you have a broken character or a broken
Yeah,
power.
it does say that. Yeah, it does always feel that because you don't know. It could be balanced, but and maybe they just got lucky. But it's always gonna be in the back of your mind that that's not official. So maybe
Yeah.
there is something there that kind of broke it.
Now, I will say I've played HeroClix games where I felt that same way with official pieces, and and a lot of it comes down to the player and the skill level as well. So, anyways, um, do-it-yourself games, fun, yes, for a time limit. I think,
Yeah.
like, one and done, then put it away and play a real game.
Yeah, you only get so much time to play games, like, so it's like
Exactly.
it seems to be a problem I've come across in my life. Is like I have a lot of board games, but it's like we only get a chance to play with people, rarely.
Yeah,
So
dude.
it seems to be difficult to actually get together with people to actually play them. and to the point where by the time you actually get together with them, you kind of want to play something that you know because nobody
Uh-huh.
really wants to relearn a game or
Mhm.
because we had to do that once recently with Dead of Winter. We were playing it and we hadn't played it for so long. We had to relearn how to play it like from the ground up.
Yeah, and it takes a
So
good half hour just
yeah,
to
and it's
get rolling.
yep, and your first game never feels right too. It always feels like there's
Yep.
stuff missing, and you've learned things that were you were doing wrong, and it's annoying.
Oh,
It's
man.
frustrating.
I could tell you stories of when we started HeroClix. I mean, you were
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
Just yep, anyways. We
Ish.
I don't know if you remember, we had the board in my kitchen.
Uh-huh.
I had a back of a poster, and we were putting tallies of how many wins. And some of those tallies had asterisks because we didn't know the rules.
Oh boy,
But it was fun.
that's silly for
It
sure.
it, it is there's that like honeymoon phase though too, right? Where if when everyone's new to it and you're all just like having a rip roaring good time, and then until someone learns the actual rules and you go, oh, okay, we got to start over because we we haven't been doing this right at all. But anyways, that's my spiel about homebrew board games, tabletop games.
We can
Okay.
just finish off with that. That sounds good. You have some. So where are your? What do you got here for your soapbox? How about we start with that?
Okay. Um, so my first thing, I have a couple things. They'll be short, but the first thing is directed at Nintendo, the entire company. Even like, never mind. But Nintendo, where are my Mario Kart tracks that I paid for that have not come out? We got the first set. For so if you're listening and you're like, what are you talking about? Mario Kart 8 on the Switch. They're like, hey, we're going to release all these old tracks updated for the Switch game. Games from the GameCube or tracks from the GameCube and the 3DS and all that. And it's part of. You could buy it as a bundle, or you could just buy the tracks. But you pay for these tracks. It's like DLC basically. And they released like 8 of them right away.
Yeah, we got 8 of them.
That
Yeah,
was what, like 4 months ago, maybe.
it
Um,
definitely feels like quite a while now
it's
for sure.
been and there's supposed to be quite like a lot more, like 48 total or something. Like a lot more tracks are supposed to come
Yeah,
out.
like a as much as a new game they're supposed to be. So like 48, like you said. So because I know I've talked to quite a few people about like, do we want a new game or these tracks? And
I would have
so
wanted a new
I
game.
prefer the tracks.
Oh, really?
I prefer the tracks. If they came out,
That's
if they
the
woulda
thing.
came out, like, in a big bundle, that would've been wonderful. I'm like, "Okay, I'm basically buying a new game
Yes,
for $25,
and
and I get to not have to worry about a lot of things," but now we're at the point where, yeah, it is taking forever
that's what I'm upset
for,
about. So we popped the game in. We haven't played, in a month or two, but we played. There's a friend of ours that plays. My wife and I play with her and her kid. We get good 4-player game going, and we popped it in, and I was like, oh yeah, new tracks, right? There's gonna be. I was like, in my mind, I was like, there's got to be the next set out, and sure enough, nothing. And I was like, what? And then I looked it up, and nobody knows. There's no timeline. There's
yep,
no
they didn't
announcement.
bring they didn't give us, yeah, they really shoulda give us
Yeah, uh,
some sort of goalpost or
yeah. Like,
something because
hey,
this is kinda ridiculous.
even if it said July/August, I'm like, okay, that's fine, but not even that. So it's like, what's going on with that? And I paid money for it, so I don't like that. It's a bad move. It's a bad look on Nintendo. Unless they just decide to release all of them in the next update, I'm a little peeved about that. And it's a notch down for Nintendo. I don't often say that, but
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
So I'm glad we're on the same wavelength as that. I was just
I'm really
disappointed.
yeah, I'm annoyed by it. We did play them and they were fun. We only played them like once or twice, but they were fun to go through. And it would be nice to get some more
Yeah, well,
to
you
play.
could see like there's that's many more cups available, and you're like they're locked, and it's like, oh yeah, it'd be nice to go through them because we went through all the 8 tracks available like 3 or 4 times in an hour, and we're like, okay, Come on, Nintendo. So just disappointing that they're taking so long
Hmm.
on they're not even like brand new tracks. They're just updated ones. So anyways,
Yeah, I thought some of them were brand new, but I don't. I think you're right. I think they're all just
maybe
supposed to be rehashes.
there might be a couple new ones, but there's a lot of rehashes. So
There's a lot of ones they're taking from the app as well. I know
oh,
that
that's right. Yeah,
because they made new ones for the app as well.
which is like cool. Those are basically new for a lot of
Hmm.
people.
Yeah.
So okay, the other thing was I started watching My Hero Academia, the anime,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
well, a little bit against. It just looks so I don't know anime, but it's actually really good. And I'm almost done with season one, and I started it this week. Surprisingly
Yeah.
good.
That's been one I've been told to watch multiple times. Is My Hero
If you're
Academia.
looking for an anime,
Um.
I
Yeah.
I think because part of me is like I don't like doing what's super popular sometimes, especially with anime. Like I don't like being
Yeah.
in the while it's popular, but it's 5 seasons in now, so it's like all right.
Yeah.
And the writing's really good. It's definitely has all the anime quirks, no pun intended, because they use that word a lot in that show, quirks. But the big eyes, the crying, but it's
Uh
really
huh.
well
Yeah. Yeah.
written, and I'm very, we were going to talk about Star Wars, the state of Star Wars, and it's just like I don't understand why some of like who's writing Star Wars when there's like these anime shows which are like basically kid shows, you know, or teenager
I don't know if
shows.
I'd consider them shows. I
Not
think
for
anime
kids.
is a bit different from the way we look
Some
at
of them are
cartoons and
though.
our.
No,
Yeah, I would imagine that. I would say some of them are kids shows
I
for
would
sure.
say
I
this
don't
one
think.
is geared towards a younger audience. There's
Oh yeah.
definitely
Okay.
older, older, mature animes. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's middle schoolers going into a high school kind of deal.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I guess the point I'm trying to make is like a big, gigantic Star Wars, and what I'm thinking more of is the sequel trilogy movies, and maybe a little bit of Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Just the writing is not great, and it's like falling into just
Yeah.
repetitive tropes that have been done before and annoying. And it's like you could do better than this. And maybe it's not the writer's fault. Maybe they're just being forced to by whoever's in charge. I don't know. But when I watch an anime like this and I'm like, wow, this is so great. I love the story. It's like, wait a minute. Is it really that great? Or have I just been drowned with boring content to where I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, you might be onto something. I mean, I actually started watching. Well, not started watching. I've been going through Adventure Time
Oh,
over the past like couple months, like because I've always been a fan of Adventure Time, but I've never
yeah.
like gone through the entire series. So I've been working my way through the series. I think I'm on like season 6 now,
Oh,
and
nice.
it's a very well made series, and it seems to be just getting better as it goes, which
Yeah.
is interesting.
That's another one that's
Um,
like, it looks like it's geared to kids, but
yeah,
it's got some more mature themes, I guess.
for sure.
It
Yes.
actually
So
has like a story
um,
later on, right? I haven't finished it.
yeah, yeah, it definitely gets there is a theme and a plot to going through right now, a story that is happening in and sometimes in the background, sometimes in the foreground, depending on what episode you're on at the time. It still does jump around, but it does seem to be more focused in than it was previously,
Yeah,
which has been interesting, and I've been digging
I
it
always thought that was a
a
well-written
lot.
show too.
It is, and it's kinda got me really more curious in some of the other Cartoon Network shows that I'm gonna be looking at, like, I wanna check out Steven Universe and, uh, uh, I wanna watch a regular show because I only watched that a little bit, and then Flapjack, I watched it a couple times, but
Flapjack,
never, like.
not a lot of substance to that one.
Yeah, but most of them are pretty short. The only one that's, like, super like, Adventure Time is super long. It's got,
Yeah.
like, 10 seasons.
Gosh, really?
That's,
I didn't
like,
know
the
that.
biggest one, yeah, that's on there, and they're already talking about doing a new, Adventure Time now with, if Cake and Fiona, like, they're gonna have their
Oh,
own, story now,
yeah,
but I
maybe,
haven't heard much about that
yeah,
besides what I just said,
yeah, maybe let's not
so we'll
milk
see.
it, every series.
That is always the thing is milking it is a problem. I will say that, like, regular show got a movie,
The
there was
movies are fine, though.
another one.
You know,
Yeah, that so I'm not sure if that's what's gonna be,
I don't mind them
or
making the
not.
movies. Anime does the movies, and they're not always canon, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I think, though, making, like, we don't have to get into it, but, like, the Lord of the Rings show that's coming out looks bad.
Yeah.
Um, eh,
I don't it looks good to me. What looks I'm kinda curious what looks bad about it.
do
I mean,
you
it looks
want
fine.
do you wanna get into
I
it?
watched the trailer.
Yeah, I've seen the
Probably
trailer.
not. Maybe, I don't know. Well, what did can you summarize it maybe?
So,
What is bothering
there's
you
some
about it?
clips that were clearly green screened, which
Okay.
just, like, the look of it looked bad. Um, and just, like, more, I guess, the talk around how much they're not really gonna honor, like, the universe Tolkien created and just do their own thing. It's like, "Oh, why not just make your own universe then?" That kinda deal. That
Yeah,
kinda thing. And,
that's a valid criticism.
same thing with Star Wars, with the newer Star Wars ones. It's like, you why not just make your own series? We didn't need to drag, Luke into the sequels and do what you did to him. So, but we've talked
Kinda like
about that
kinda like
and the
yeah,
Skywalkers.
kinda like the Orville. I've been really enjoying the Orville too, but that's a
Yeah,
little
see?
different. That's kinda like it's like taking the ideas that Star Trek started,
Exactly.
but doing something of your
Just
own,
making it your own,
which
yeah.
is
And I haven't finished
which
that
is
show,
yeah,
but I like the 1st season.
yeah, they're working on the 3rd season. The 3rd season's, like, coming out now, and these episodes have been nuts. They're just really good. They're all each one's like a movie, though, each episode. It's pretty
Yeah,
intense. They're, like, over an hour long, and
yeah.
you can
See,
definitely tell they got their budget they wanted.
okay, we're not gonna talk about it today, so don't worry, no spoilers. But the last
Uh-huh.
episode of Stranger Things was, like, 2 and a half, 3 hours long or something?
It I think it needed it, though.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
not saying it
it
didn't,
coulda it
but it didn't
yeah.
warn us, and we my wife and I
Oh, you did it? Oh, I knew it was gonna be long, so I
that
already heard the
long?
horror stories.
They
So,
why
we actually
couldn't it
started
just be 2
watching it.
episodes, though? Why couldn't it just split it up into 2, and then we would have been able to go to bed at a reasonable hour?
You probably did this well, maybe something similar because we started it, like, at 10 o'clock
Yeah.
as well. We
No,
started at
we
10 o'clock
no.
because
I didn't even look.
they were out that day, and apparently, somebody tried to spoil it for Sarah,
Oh,
and so
that's
as soon
annoying.
as they got home, she was like, "We're just gonna watch it. I think it's time to just watch it." And I was like, "Alright, whatever. I mean, it's gonna be, like, 12:30 by the time it gets
Right,
done, but
right.
I'll do it."
I just
So
split
we
it
did
up.
it.
Why do like, they were doing hour and a half episodes, which is fine, but we did
I think they just couldn't figure out a good, like,
stopping point, yeah.
stopping point in between, but we'll have to do a
Yeah,
whole
we'll do
thing
that
on
next
that.
episode.
But speaking of Star Wars, and this is I am gonna say I'm not gonna hold anything back on, like, spoilers for Obi-Wan, so
Oh,
if
okay.
you care about that, uh,
Yeah.
where what just don't wor just you can stop now and come back later after you've watched that,
Yeah.
but, uh I'm not gonna hold back. But anyways, so I came up with I didn't come up with it. I heard something and it got me thinking a lot recently. And it was from somebody who wasn't a huge Star Wars fan, or at least not a current Star Wars fan. But they were discussing the prequels, and he said something that really piqued my thinking, and it was that Qui-Gon Jinn is a worthless character.
Mhm.
Like, there's no reason for the character in Phantom Menace. Like, he does nothing to really he does nothing that Obi-Wan Kenobi couldn't have done on his own if he was already just a Jedi Master.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm glad you agree
I
with me because that's what 'Cause I brought it up with some other
People
people,
can
and they were
uh-huh,
everybody else I've talked to seems to wanna defend his reason for being there
and they
to
can't
their
you got
dying
no
breath.
there's no reason other than he, like, maybe was stubborn enough or something. It's like to train Anakin, like, the
But I feel like yeah, and that's kinda where my problem is that I feel like if it would have been a better I think Phantom Menace would have been a better film if we just got the story at the beginning of Obi-Wan Kenobi dealing with everything and then picking up Anakin as his Padawan instead of this other random Jedi
yes,
that we never knew about
right?
who was training Obi-Wan Kenobi, picks up this Padawan and then dies, dumping this Padawan into Obi-Wan Kenobi's lap. I was like, "Okay, I
Yeah.
was against this."
So I would have argued with you about this whole thing, except that I had a buddy of mine, and I should have wrote it down because he's
Uh-huh.
like thinking, okay, he's like, here's what should have happened in episode one, and he just like laid it out for me, and I was like, you ain't wrong, and I was like, but I just like Qui-Gon. I thought he was played well. Liam Neeson played him well, and he
Yeah,
was fun.
there's nothing
And
wrong with the
he's like, you
character
could
at
keep
yeah,
Qui-Gon.
that was
It's
played.
fine. Put him here. And I was like, oh my gosh. And like my whole Star Wars universe was shattered. He's like, I was like, gosh, they could have just like flipped the switch here and there, and it would have been kind of like probably what you were saying about Obi-Wan just being there.
Using more Obi-Wan because I think the biggest issue with Obi-Wan and Anakin's relationship in the prequel trilogy, not including the Clone Wars, because I know the Clone Wars does dabble into the relationship quite a bit, but in the actual movies, they barely talk to each other. Like every movie, they're doing their own things. They're never
That's
working
true.
together. Like they like work together one time in the beginning of Attack of the Clones, and then the rest of the movie they're in completely
Right.
opposite sides of the
Right.
galaxy.
Yeah.
And then the last movie is the same thing. They don't see each other till the
They
end. So
start,
how do we
yeah,
get
they
this
start
idea
off,
that they're like this?
they beat
They're
Grievous,
these yeah.
and then they split up. Yeah.
So it's like we never really get like any actual relationship
I
building.
know,
And like,
and so you said that we're doing spoilers. That like I
yeah,
saw
yeah.
people's reaction to that whole interaction with him and Darth Vader, and I was like, I don't see where you guys are getting this. Like, where are you getting this emotion? Like, they never built it up to where, like you're saying, like there's no attachment there. Who cares?
Yeah. They don't and I think if they would have put Obi-Wan as the primary Jedi in Phantom Menace, they
Yeah,
could have had more time to build a relationship because they could have cut out a ton of Qui-Gon Jinn stuff and just had them building a relationship from then,
dude. Yeah,
which I think would have been
dude.
more.
I've been seeing clips of George Lucas like while they're making Phantom Menace, and he's like, it was like almost like post production stuff, and he's like, "Well, we can't go back and do it," and he's just like upset with like the whole thing, and he just
Yeah.
like knew he's like, "This is not what I wanted, and it's not how I thought it'd turn out." But like, I never, you never saw that stuff back in the day. They just had to suck
No,
it
no,
up and
no.
promote it and get their money.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, which makes
Well, I think
sense.
that
But like, yeah, you start
yeah,
seeing these
so
clips of everyone like, "Yeah, we should have said something." Like,
yeah, it's because a lot of people wouldn't they were yes men. They wouldn't they couldn't a lot of people who he hired and who worked on Phantom Menace were already Star Wars nerds.
yeah,
They were already fans of George Lucas's work, so it's hard to tell your idol or your like this heroic character that you just have had a, fan crush on for your whole life. It's hard to start telling him he's doing it wrong.
right.
It's like you're doing it
You
wrong,
like,
George.
yeah, you might not even know. Like you're saying, they might just
Yeah.
be so awestruck. They're like, "Oh, okay, I think this is going to work out. Maybe it is going to work out. Maybe I'm just not seeing it."
Yeah,
And you're just lying to
he
yourself.
obviously knows what he's doing. I mean, have you seen the original
Yeah,
trilogy?
but
That he didn't edit at
yeah,
all,
exactly.
and everybody around him saved it
Yeah,
from
exactly.
being just a
It's
travesty.
a whole team of people. Yeah, and like the other, he didn't direct the sequels, and
Yeah, and yeah, Empire Strikes Back, what is most people consider it as the best Star Wars movie. He didn't even he had barely anything to do with. He wrote the original script, and I think that's about it.
right.
He didn't really do much else. He produced it, but he was barely like he barely had a lot to. He didn't have as much to do with it. He was very hands off compared to the other ones,
Right.
which
It shows.
which yes, it
It's
shows
showing
because
now.
that movie is like the
And
best movie.
I'm not blaming him for everything.
Not
But,
entirely, no. I don't wanna sit here and bash George. I mean, he did his best.
and
I'd
yeah,
never say
and
that he wasn't trying.
he is the main reason this whole universe exists. Like,
Exactly,
so,
yeah, for sure.
but yeah, looking back, it's just interesting to see that even he knew, like, oh, these prequels aren't kind of shaping up to what. And I think he was referring to some of like just the like CGI or whatever. But
I don't yeah, I don't really that was a lot shorter than I thought, because I was expecting Tomas to fight me, but he wasn't here, so, I didn't know you would disagree with me so
yeah,
quickly. But
I mean, for sake of argument,
I've
I could, but I honestly like I
I'm,
think
glad you agree with me because I know Tomas was against me when I was talking to him before, because I even brought up a point that I feel like Jar Jar Binks is more important than Qui-Gon Jinn in that movie, and he didn't like that one at all. Uh, but
yeah, you didn't
anyways,
say better though.
um,
You said more important.
I didn't say better. I said he was more important to the story. Yeah, to the story, he actually has a purpose.
It,
Is all I was
gosh,
getting at.
I think I would have taken like a trash can. Like nothing against the guy that played Jar Jar, but gosh, it just seems
Yeah,
so
yeah.
out of place and annoying.
Uh-huh.
And like you're saying now, looking back, Qui Gon does kind of too, like just out of place. Like
Yeah,
he's cool.
he
He
doesn't seem to need to be
he
there.
could
Yeah,
have
he's
been
definitely cool, and Liam Neeson is he's a great actor. I've never had an issue with Liam
he
Neeson.
could have been in there like an Obi-Wan could have talked to him like for guidance. And like, hey,
Yeah,
this
maybe he was his old master. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, whatever.
Um, but why do you feel about the prequels? I don't think we've talked about it a little bit here and there, but like
The
I
prequels.
always get a lot of mixed yeah things
I
from
was
people
thinking
about
about
the
this.
prequels. Like how do you feel
So
about
this
them?
Phantom Menace, uh, there's a lot of nostalgia because it came out when I was in eighth grade, and I remember you and I
Yeah, of course.
specifically were so stoked. And our brothers were
Oh
too,
yeah.
but we literally had the broom handles painted, lightsabers, and we were giving each other
Yes.
concussions and you know bleeding our knuckles over that stuff. Um, and just seeing like, remember like because we didn't really have the internet at the time, and
Yeah, yeah.
maybe a little bit, but like any screenshot we could get was just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. And
Mhm.
yeah, we were just like, we would kill for anything Star Wars, almost probably literally would have killed. So like all that going into that, like I this movie had to be good for me as a kid. And
Yeah.
so at the time it was. When it came out, the
Yeah.
first few times I watched it, I loved it.
Mhm.
I was in eighth grade. I wasn't thinking about plot. I wasn't thinking about canon. I just liked the lightsaber battles and the starship battles and the pod race. So that first
Uh-huh.
one for me has that nostalgia. Now I get a little bit older, the next few come out, and I start seeing the cracks, and people start telling me about it. I'm like, oh gosh, you're right, and Attack of the Clones was just so boring. It
Yeah.
was so boring. Like, what is happening? Is this a Star Wars
Uh-huh.
movie?
That's
And then you watch Revenge of the Sith, and you're like, it just feels like they're trying to make up for the how boring Attack of the Clones was, and they overdid it, and they forgot to put like a good story and character development in there.
also good dialogue. The script was awful in that one. I feel like
Yeah,
every bit of dialogue felt so forced
that's
and
see,
like just bleh.
like, oh crap, we forgot this has to lead up to the other movies that were made in the 80s and
Uh-huh.
or the 70s and 80s. Oh shoot, we forgot. Like we don't have 8 movies to do this. Well, let's all cram it in there, and like you said, forced. And like Padme, she just kind of phoned it in. Ewan McGregor still did good. He
Yep.
seemed professional, and
I've
Hayden
always felt
Christensen
yeah,
was
I felt like yeah, I've always felt that Ian McGregor really he's like the best in
but
those films. Him and the guy who plays Palpatine, which I can't remember his name right
yeah,
now.
oh yeah,
They're both they're both very good.
yeah, and Mace Windu was fine, and all that. Uh,
Mhm. Oh yeah, Mace Windu is fine, but I mean, he has very little
Like, yeah,
dialogue. But
like
yeah,
he should like
when he is there, he's
that's
good.
how much Qui-Gon should have been in it, like you were saying.
Yeah,
And so yeah, so I don't. I'll probably watch them again, if my kids get into Star Wars. But I have
yeah,
no intention of going back and watching those movies on my own
yeah.
ever
It
again.
I think I'm with you on that, and that's another thing that's always keeps being brought up is how people want to say that Revenge of the Sith is like the best Star Wars movie, and it always
The
bugs me
best.
because I'm just like, why? Yeah, a lot of people put it
Like
up there
objectively?
with Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, uh,
What?
I don't
Real people?
understand why real people. At least I think they're real when I
See,
have
I
discussions on Twitter and stuff.
I waited in
A lot of
line.
people really love that movie.
I waited in line
Really
to
love that
see Attack
movie.
of the Clones, and when Revenge of the Sith came out, I remember people called me like, "Hey, you want to go see it?" I was like, "I'll see it eventually," and it was okay.
Yeah.
It was fine. Um,
I was on a trip when it came out, I remember, and I was just like, "I'll see it." Yeah, I wanted to see it, but I think the only reason I wanted to see it at the time was because I was on a field trip with my class and it was out, and I was like, "Oh, we should go see it as a class because this would be
yeah,
fun while we're on this 2-week trip." But I don't know if I really cared about it that much. I did get a bootleg of that one. I think I
I got a
watched
bootleg of it.
that was
Attack of the Clones.
yeah, maybe I got it from you. No, no, it was because mine was Revenge of the Sith. I remember getting it, and I was like, and it was just because it hadn't come out in DVD yet. So I remember
I
doing
remember,
a
yeah,
marathon and watching the bootleg
yeah,
version of Revenge of the Sith,
yeah. I had a bootleg of
which
Phantom
was
Menace, which I watched quite a bit, and then
oh
I
yeah,
watched it like every night for like a week or two, and then eventually I just fast forwarded to like the lightsaber battle at the end, and then eventually I just
yeah,
threw it away. But
yeah.
yeah,
Not even I didn't even say the spoiler for Obi-Wan Kenobi, which I didn't know. I didn't think I thought it would come up. The you saw
kind of,
the end of
yeah,
Obi-Wan
yeah.
Kenobi, right? Where they kinda showed him at the end, and I was just like, "Okay, why?" I mean, I guess I've
So
kind of always been like I was always kind of it was I had just accepted that we were just never gonna know or never care because it was always kind of
yeah,
Yoda said that throwaway line as like, "Oh, I've been talking to Qui-Gon," so I always kind of felt that Qui-Gon was just like, "Oh, well, he kind of figured it out, but he didn't figure it out like all the way, but." Or maybe he did, but
or
it was too
yeah,
late for
or
him. So he was
maybe
just more like talking in the
yeah.
Force, not really be able to pull himself together as an actual Force
And I
ghost.
always felt like
But
when when Luke talked to Obi-Wan, it was because he needed guidance, and it was more of like a spiritual meeting,
yeah, yeah,
rather
yeah.
than like, hey, I just want to hang out. And so maybe when Obi-Wan's older, and see, this is when it's kids. This is another reason I like the show is that you got to jump through all these hoops. So like, well, maybe because when Obi-Wan's really old, he doesn't need quiet
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
And it's like, no, it's because they made that movie 40 years ago, and they had no intention of doing all
Yeah.
this extra crap that didn't need to be done.
Yeah, them going that is my biggest problem with that. It does feel it felt Obi-Wan the show felt completely unnecessary.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest problem with it.
yeah, out
Is
of nothing.
like they had that stupid dialogue at the end, and I know it was a cool lightsaber fight. I'll give it that. But
That was all
when they
right.
had the stupid dialogue when he was just like, "Oh man, Anakin," and he's like, "Oh, I killed Anakin." It was like you just said that to try to justify his line for later. That's why you did that, and you can see right through you right now,
Yeah,
and it's not good. That's not the exact quote, but it was just like
yeah.
the way they were talking.
When
It was just like it just gave him an excuse for A New Hope when he says
when
that.
Vader says he killed Anakin, is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, that whole
Well,
scene,
but at the
and I was
same
just sitting there
time,
like,
uh, well, and this is something I heard on another review of it, was that, well, now the blood is on Obi-Wan's hands. He knows
yeah,
what Vader's doing. He saw him murdering kids. You had like
yeah,
at some point you have to you murdered so many people in the war. Come on, dude.
uh-huh,
You had to have you won. You had to kill him there, and obviously you can't because it ruins the movies. But And like, yeah, like you said, it was a cool moment, and the battle was fine, but like, it just doesn't fit, and then now it makes Obi-Wan look bad. Like, yeah,
It does start making it look bad, that's right. I've always felt that Obi-Wan was probably one of the best Jedi, but then, like, things like this
he
happen, which is
catches
like,
little
"Oh, okay. Well,
go.
I guess we're giving him more flaws, I get getting him more flaws, I guess."
Yeah,
But still.
I don't like the demasculating of characters that they're doing. It's really
Mhm.
unnecessary, like you said. That's so unnecessary. And then he lets the other girl go after she's been murdering people and slicing hands off the whole show. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
She can just sway this so easily.
She
Why are
knows,
we letting her
yeah,
go?
she knows where Luke lives and everything. You're just gonna, like, what are you doing, Disney? What is this?
But he saw see, Obi-Wan saw the trilogy, so he knew that she doesn't come
He
up
saw the
later, so it's no
future.
big deal. Yeah, he sat there and watched the trilogy, and he was
Oh,
like, "Oh, okay. I don't have to
so
worry about
this
her.
was a
We'll be
Spaceballs
fine."
moment. They they literally find the VHS of it, like, it's happening now.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's
Oh my god, I love that movie. I watched it. That was another one I sat with my son, and I was like, "We're watching this," and he's like, "Oh, this is stupid. I wanna watch this," and he was, like, laughing the
okay, yeah, I
entire
was gonna
movie.
say that one still holds
I was
up.
like,
Mel Brooks
yeah,
movies hold
it was
up.
that yeah, there's some movies I have to, like, force him to sit down sometimes, and then I know he'll love it,
Yeah,
but, he it's a fight for a
I
minute
feel like that is a
to get him
better
watching it.
Star Wars movie than Obi-Wan was a show.
Oh, yeah.
So,
It was better
yeah,
just
we
movie.
could talk more about it next time, but
Yeah, we'll have to figure it out. Yeah, I think we're running here, so I think we'll wrap it up here.
yeah.
Uh, this
Qui-Gon
sounds
Jinn
good.
is worthless, and
Yeah, he
prove me
really is.
wrong. I could just see the meme of you putting that. I'm sure it already is a meme now. The prove me
Oh,
wrong
I'm sure
thing.
it is. I'm sure more people have talked about it. Yeah, but I just can't
I
justify him. I can't justify him as a character. Everybody always says, "Well, it gives like Obi-Wan a drive." And it's like if he doesn't really have a drive, then why would he have needed that to continue like being a Jedi? Like why was that the thing he needed? Like you don't think he needs that to keep moving forward in the Force.
Obi-Wan
I don't know.
needed the drive to
Yeah,
train?
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, exactly, to train Anakin. Why would he need like, there could have been way more
I
reasons.
mean,
Like, the only thing I've
he made a promise, I guess.
yeah, but it was like, I mean,
I
I think
mean,
that's just
why
kinda
didn't they
forced in
just
that
follow
point.
what he said in the original movies where he said, "I thought I could train him like Yoda," and why couldn't he have
Yeah,
just found Anakin the way Qui-Gon did
that would have been
and
yep,
been like, "You know what? I'm taking him up as my Padawan. I'm gonna be the
yeah.
stubborn one." And it's so
Maybe he could
weird.
have been he could have been a fresh Jedi Master, that would have
Yeah,
been
it would
great, like, he's like a kind of a fresh Jedi Master, hasn't got a Padawan yet,
yeah.
but then finds someone that's an extreme case, which is a little too old, you know, we could rewrite this whole movie,
Yeah, hindsight
but
is
it
always,
should have been.
2020.
Hindsight is always 20/20 for sure.
But I wish I would have wrote down what my buddy told me, because he went into detail, like, "Here's how it's gonna happen." The sad thing is my buddy, lives on the streets now, and I have no way of getting hold of him to
Oh,
like, doesn't have a phone or
wow.
nothing. Yeah, it's kind of a sad story. So, um, and that's why it's just like now I'm like even more baffled because I was like, man, I really wish I would remember what he said because I remember like I wanted to argue with him and I was like, I can't. That sounds so much better. Whatever he said was like, and it's all along the lines of what you're saying. Is just he went into a little bit more detail with whatever
Yeah, of
happened.
course, yeah.
So, anyways,
Alright then. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up here, so, come check us out next time. We did kinda take a week off 'cause, Kyle, as he said earlier, got COVID, so,
yeah,
but he's better now, so hopefully we can keep our two-week thing going, in the future. So hopefully we'll see you next time. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
bye guys.